at the high school to share with you how they're using the iPads in that content area.
Put this in here because I need two hands for this. Well, good morning. My name is Joel Youngberg, like Mr. Deal was telling us here. And this year is my first year teaching. So I have not had too many opportunities to stand in front of my own colleagues, let alone a group like this. So as I was sitting here watching the rest of my fellow faculty members talk, I was trying to figure out if I was more nervous standing in front of talking to you guys or the 64th through 6th grade basketball players that I had a few weeks ago. And I think I was more nervous in front of them. But if you would please change into your Phi Ed attire, I would be much more comfortable with this. So I am here this morning to talk to you about what the iPad has done in the Phi Ed department. When we were issued these iPads, I will not name names, but I know there are a few of us that were trying to figure out if it was a Frisbee with a cover, or if this was going to be something that we could actually use in the physical education department. And the attitude has been turned, similar to Mr. Ward here. Very skeptical, but this is definitely something that we are able to use on a daily basis in Phi Ed and get exactly what we need out of it. So much of our focus in the Phi Ed department has been we've been focused on the development of skills and techniques through feedback. Much of what we can do in Phi Ed is so visual. You know, it's hard to give notes and have the students read the notes and be able to perform a physical skill based on what they're reading on a piece of paper. So give demonstrations, and the students then need to reiterate that demonstration right back to us. And for some kids, it's just not easy to see it once and do it again. They just don't have that kind of practice. So with I'm using an app here called Tennis Coach Plus. I don't use it a ton for tennis. I use it for Phi Ed. So one of the first things I did was had a couple people form a basketball shot for me, just a free throw, and talk about the technique that they were using in their free throw. So the first one, as I move through it here, I can pause the video whenever I so choose. We can talk about different things within the video. Zoom this in here, and I can point out that, you know, might be a good idea here that we should actually have our right foot forward as we shoot, not our left foot forward. And you can say, okay, that's great, Mr. Youngberg, but what did my shot look like before? Well, I can tell you. I can put your two shots up side by side. I can synchronize these to the same point. And here we go. The slide on your right is what you were doing before. The slide on your left is what we have now corrected. As we advance, we can see on the right side, we had a two-handed shot. On the right side, we've got, you know, a proper shot technique with one hand doing a majority of the work, as opposed to our two-handed chest pass up to the hoop. So it's been really good for some of the basketball stuff. Golf we'll get back to in the spring. I'm really excited to be able to get into some of that. What do we have here for golf? Or we can, if we have any golfers in the room, I can get to this point here. This is a pretty common swing that we would see on Saturday at the golf course. I can also draw a little bit on this picture where I want to see an angle. Touch these 3 points. We can see that we have an 84-degree angle between the shoulder, elbow, and wrist placement. I can tell our student here that he's going to lose a lot of power when it comes with this backswing. I can tell him that his hip placement, fix that, his hips tilted the wrong way, so now he's basically in a reverse style pivot, and he's all out of whack. So after a little bit of discussion, a little bit of practice, we will go back to our picture. We'll zoom in again. Oh, and now I can move this frame by frame, go through nice and slow. As we look here now, got a pretty straight arm, hips are a little bit more level. We have pretty good hand position. Excuse me, let me undo that line, that's not correct. Pretty good hand position up here. We can point out exactly what they're doing wrong right there. I don't have to record this, take it back to any other kind of editing tools. I can film it, pull up, and film it in the camera. It's not within the app, or I can do it from the app too, I guess. But I can take something, if I've recorded it at another event, I can bring this in and show the student. Everything is just right here, easy to deal with. And let's say at the end of this, I want them to be able to hang on to this video and say, you did an excellent job in your corrected golf swing. So I'm going to email that one to you. And just enter it in, and now they can see everything that we just talked about for 3 minutes in class. They can spend however much time they need to at home looking at the two differences. I can also, let me take a look here. We're going to compare. So we're looking at let's set a synchronization point here. We'll deal with that in a second. So setting a synchronization point is just a point in the video where we can always go back to. So from this point, the one on your left is going to be the incorrect one, and then as I move the one through the right is the correct one. So we can get them both set to the same, what would be the same spot. Where am I? No, still tinkering. Here we go. So we're going to compare these two right here. This was a student that I was working with that thought he had changed everything about his shot. And what we found out was, as much as he thought he had changed, there was actually very little that had. So as we move through this, he is now able to see from roughly the same position that we changed his, the way that he was extending his arm through the shot, and there is no difference between the two, essentially. And in his mind, he was basically shooting left-handed instead of right-handed now. And he said, I just can't feel it, I can't feel it. Fine, here's the video. This is exactly what I'm seeing. Even though it feels like a foreign object to you, this is exactly what's going on. And then it kind of starts sinking in a little bit that, okay, you are not just making things up and making me go through this even more. Other things in the Phi-Ed world that we've been working with that has been really nice for us, you've heard the term good reader thrown out a few times this morning. This is where it relates to us in our world. Here's my lesson plans. So when we go outside and we're working with soccer, it gets to be a lot to carry around a camera, paper and pencil, your attendance book. all the different things that we'd be carrying out there. So with the iPad, I've got my camera, I've got my lesson plans, I've got any attendance records that I need to take. I've made a template for myself. So for dress and attendance template, I can use it for scoring sheets. So everything's here. So dress, absent, use it for the scoring. There's all the students listed. Very easy to navigate through all of it. Also with testing, not if we're outdoors and we do any kind of testing, I can email the students a test. We'll go through our softball test, and they can do the test right there on the iPad. Comes right back to me. The 15 out of 15 is me grading it, sitting right there, and that's just the end of it. And I can email it right back to them. Simple and done. Mile times created in another template where they can fill out as with a partner. Their partner fills out their mile times for them. We got another one that's set so that they set their goal for a mile time, so that they'd have to hit their, if it's their goal is an 8-minute mile, separated it in 2-minute laps, so that every time they come through, they can say, okay, I'm at 2:02. I need to pick it up a little bit. Next one's 1:57, and so forth. So it's an easy way for me to record times. I can focus on, making sure everybody is where they need to be, doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I don't have to manage everything. They can record the times and just email it into me, and I can record it later. I can focus on the class instead of focused on the scores at the time. So I think that about does it for me. Ward, I think you could have had a little extra time for mine. So thank you so much.